happy Wednesday. I am happy to see you here this evening. Let's see. I'm Nicole with Equally Creative by Nicole. And I would love if you could hit the like button, send some hearts sometime this evening, and subscribe to my channel. I am trying to grow my email list. So if you are interested in finding out when I have live in-person classes or special one-off classes, you'll want to head over to Equally Creative by Nicole and sign up for my weekly newsletter. Let's see. We are at the end of July, so we are currently finishing up our bonus days. So for every $50 you spend, you're going to get a $5 coupon. And if you shop this week between today and Monday, the 31st, you will also get an opportunity to get tonight's class for free or even extra embellishments. So I am going to flip over to the other camera. We're using a lot of items tonight. Let me grab some of these so you can see. And I'm just going to quickly go through these items first. Okay, so this item is Stylish Shapes. I did not include this on the list in the description simply because a lot of us have circle punches that might work for what I use them. Squares, I love these because it has like the stitched punch out look, but you could easily substitute any other shapes that work for you. So this was not included. I kind of hope you already have this one. It is really good for all purpose. These are wonderful. So this is one of the ones we're using this evening. This is the Tree Rings Hybrid. This was a carryover product from last July through December, and we're going to use this evening. I'm going to show you how to use the hybrid folder piece, and we'll do that in just a moment. And then this is the stamp set that coordinates with this. This is called Ringed with Nature. And you can see it's got a variety of items in there. It's not just Christmas, but there's definitely Christmas in here. So we used that this evening. Brightest Glow has the most amazing sentiments. And I can't wait to show you how this Merry Christmas stamps out because it is phenomenal. It just is one of the cleanest images I have ever stamped. I just love it. Okay, we'll move on. And then I used the sketched plaid. I only used this on one of the cards. It's a lot of fun to play with. I feel like you could really use this in a variety of ways. You could stamp this on a colored patterned paper. You can stamp this with one color on a solid color. You can color these lines with the Stampin' Right markers and get a variety of colored plaid. So lots and lots of variations can be used with this. It was a lot of fun to play with this. All right, so let me show you the first card we're going to make. Now, I love simple but elegant. So I hope that that is what this card shows. And let me grab my background piece here because that's going to help keep down the glare. So this piece is just some thick white cardstock, all three of these pieces, and then this is the only pop of color. I love this card so much, so I really hope that you enjoy watching and then creating this for yourself. So let's go ahead and get started. So I did use the embossing folder. We did not cut. So we're just going to emboss like we would any other piece. This is a rectangle underneath here. And then I've got some of the poinsettias that I stamped and cut out from the Ringed with Nature. And I simply did a first generation color and a second generation. So let's see, I've got all of the pieces here ready to go. I didn't cut everything because Lord only knows we would be here all night if I had to cut everything on a live video. So under my table here, I have my embossing machine, but I'm mainly because you won't really be able to see it. But what I am using is the base and number 4 here. Let's see, I put the folder down. All right, so for this one, we're just using this like a generic 3D embossing folder. So I'm just going to put my paper in here. This is pre-cut to 4 by 5 1/4. You know, my favorite layer, my favorite size for the first outer layer there. All right, I'm going to run this through my machine. And pull that back up here. I really like that I can tuck this in and out. It's so helpful. All right, so if you can see the texture in this 3D folder, it's just so awesome. I love it. Okay, so here's my card base, 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. We're going to go ahead and fold this and burnish those edges with our bone folder. And I am trying to be a little particular with lining this up. It's not always too particular, but since I'm doing white on white, I really like when it lines up better. I am going to use glue on the back of this one because I have so many layers. And sorry, I'm kind of running. This glue lasts forever, and you can literally, it was trying to show me that it was done this afternoon, but look at that. I got plenty of glue to use. It literally feels like it'll last forever. All right, so I'm just kind of lining this up, centering this on here, spreading that glue around. All right, make sure that's adhered nice and solidly. All right, I'm just going to bring my little background scrap here, and I'm going to show you this Merry Christmas stamp because when I tell you it is the cleanest stamped image ever, it really is. So I'm using Cherry Cobbler. It's one of my favorite holiday colors. Real Red is the other, commonly used color for Christmas. But I really love the bold Cherry Cobbler. So I stamped it off to the right of the rectangle here. I don't know if you can see how crystal clear. Does it show up for you? Okay. So that is just, if you have messed with stamps at all, you know how particular it is to have a nice, clean stamped image. I'm going to just set this off to the side. Here are my images from earlier. I did pre-stamp and cut these pieces so that assembly wouldn't take, 2 hours for the evening. I don't want to keep y'all on here that long. I know that your time is valuable, so I love that you have joined me this evening. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and fussy cut this piece out. I love poinsettias. I think that the variety of colors that you can get at Christmas time are absolutely just gorgeous. And yes, I know some of them are spray painted or whatnot, but we actually have a planted or a potted plant poinsettia that Lynn has managed to save and hold on to since last Christmas. So I think that's pretty good so far. It'll be interesting to see if it blooms. So, and that was a standard red one, but it was gorgeous last year. And of course it's outside because we have kitty cats. And kitty cats cannot eat poinsettias. Well, they can, but they shouldn't. And they will if they have the opportunity. So, Our plant went outside and stayed out by the door, and again, Lynn managed to repot ours, and it is wonderful. It has green leaves and everything. All right, so we are going to assemble the rest of this. So we are going to put our Merry Christmas in the bottom right corner of the card on dimensionals. And let's see, I have to share this. This is something a little goofy, but if you are like a prep kind of queen like I am, and you like little containers to prep stuff, this is Lightroom, I think is what it's called, at Target. And there's like 3 or 4 of those little containers for like $2 or something. It was really ridiculously inexpensive, but they are perfect. And I bought them to be able to use at classes so that I can have stations instead of everybody having all of their materials at their spot for every card, because those run a little longer than I would like. So for some of the larger classes, I like to have stations so people can be in different parts of a room while they're stamping. And so these are perfect for prepped pieces. So very excited to find them. Now I did put dimensionals on all 3 of my poinsettias, and I added the dimensional like on the edge, not directly in the center. And then the order was that I did a dark one first, and it goes off of this rectangle here so that it's flat. And I just tucked that dimensional up against there. So it's the same level. And I'm going to do the same thing with my second generation color. And I kind of did this off to the corner here, so it overlaps just a little bit. And then I took this one and just added an entire layer on top. So I just put it right on top. So it gives a bunch of depth in here. Let me see if this shows that depth. There you go. And then we're just going to embellish. And this is the Neutrals adhesive backed sequins. As you can tell, I really love them. I have used so many of them already. An entire colorway. I really loved that bronze color there. So had to buy a second one so that I had some more of the bronze color available. So let's see. And I added the gold sequins to the centers of my poinsettias. You know, kind of like when they spray their stuff and they sprinkle it with glitter. That's my glitter. So this is my super simple. I hope it is as stunning to you as it was to me. I enjoy simple but elegant, and that's what this one hopefully is. Okay, so I'm going to move some stuff out of the way and get started with card number 2. All right. Let's see. All right, so card number 2, we're going to use the Tree Rings hybrid folder. We're going to emboss and cut. And I am going to grab a scrap for that part, because we're also going to use just an embossed piece, but I really wanted to share how that works. So we're going to use a scrap for this part. Now to use the combo, because that's how it's sold, you get all of this in one. You're going to pull out the dies, and you're going to pull off this large piece like this, okay? This is going to fit right in your hybrid folder, sorry. And it's only going to fit one way, so that's the way you're going to twist and turn until it fits. Then you can put your paper on. Make sure you've covered. So here I'm going to get most of those circles, those tree rings cut out. So I'll get 3 good tree rings from there. And then I'm going to run that through the regular 3D way. So put that in. And what it's going to do is it's going to emboss, and it's going to cut those tree rings out all in one motion. So here we are. There's the magic. Let's see. Okay, so here we have an embossed tree ring here. Okay. And another one. And then I have some partial pieces, which you can always use on the edges of cards and different things. So now I'm going to take this off because we do not want to use this for the background piece. So our background piece, we're going to do like we did the white one. And we're just going to emboss this piece. So I'm going to run that back through the machine. Now, since it's sold together, you can't get one without the other, I don't believe. So it's sold as a hybrid combo. But it's a lot of fun to have this giant dimension. I just love it. Okay. Here is our card base, which is our new, one of our new in colors. I'm already going blank tonight. Pebbled Path. I was at the hairdresser earlier and I forgot, I don't know, some miscellaneous word, and I asked if I could blame COVID still. I feel like COVID and my brain just synced so perfectly that I will never remember anything for the rest of my life. No, just sporadically will forget things. So again, I'm going to use my glue because of all this dimension. And yes, I am shaking it down to the very tip because I don't waste if I can't help it. So you can see I'm just kind of scribbling, and by golly, like I said, this thing's going to go on forever. Or until tomorrow when I go to use it again and I can't shake any more down. And I do keep it stored upside down. That's very helpful. Okay, so crumb cake layer embossed, glued down with Pebbled Path. And then I did use on 2 of the cards some of the online exclusive designer series paper. It is still available. It is going to be featured in the next class exponentially more than tonight. Tonight I used it twice. I'm going to use a little bit of adhesive. So this is just a 2-inch piece that I cut off of one that I loved, the little subtlety of the trees in the background there. So decided to use it. We do not have any Christmas paper really in our annual catalog right now. And I wanted our first class to be stuff that you did not have to be afraid to try to order. You will get lots of use out of it. Let's see, Merry Christmas. So I am using the Merry Christmas from the Ringed with Nature stamp set. And again, that cherry cobbler color. This is one of our photopolymer stamps. So it was nice and clear, but again, just nice and crisp. I mean, it's fabulous. All right, so now we get to layer and build. So we have this layer here. I did not use the twine around the layer because I didn't like the bulk that it created right here. So I'm just going to tie a bow in a moment for that. But I am going to layer this on dimensionals. But I have misplaced my dimensionals already. Usually they're right under my nose. So, yep, that's where they were, right under there. So sometimes that happens more than it should, right? All right. So this piece of DSP is going to coordinate with the Open Sleigh stamp set, or Horse and Sleigh, I think is what it's called. And so that is one of the stamp sets that will be featured in the next series. So series 2 is going to feature online exclusives. Whatever is available will be featured. So I'm going to prep some things and pray it doesn't go out of stock before we have class, because that will not be fun. All right, so I'm layering up a couple of layers here. My Merry Christmas, I'm going to trim and flag the ends. I just chose one of the tree rings to go in the middle. And then, so let's see. Doesn't have to be super fancy on the ends. If you've ever worked with real ribbon, it's not always perfect on the ends. So again, no stamping police. All right, I am going to add this with a little bit of glue right in the center. And I'm going to put this right across here. Actually, I want to put this at a slight angle. And then we are going to add some of this jute. And I think I'm just going to do a little knot instead of a bow. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. All right. If you've been watching for the last couple of weeks, we're going to make a mini glue dot booger and stick this sucker on. So just going to roll one of these mini glue dots in my finger here. And I'm going to put it onto my thread, my jute thread, and then I think I'm going to put it right here. All right, now, again, my fabulous embellishments, the white embellishments. I just loved that. It looks like snow. It goes with the white in the designer series paper, so that's why I chose white for this one. Again, sometimes you want the 3s. I sometimes will go against the grain and do additional. So I'm going to do 5. There we go. When you spend $50 this week with me, you will receive these neutrals adhesive backed sequins, so you can decorate all 4 of your cards with those as well. All right, so here is card number 2. Get that out of the way. Okay. Card number 3 is the second card that I used our designer series paper on. And this is the Brightest Glow sentiments. So for this one, I used Hoping Your Christmas Shines Bright with the love of family and friends. And I really loved this particular paper. And you can see I used some of the gold sequins and a little bit of gold twine behind there. And then on the inside, I used the house and the roof from the Ringed with Nature right here, and the Merry Christmas. So this card base is actually going to be the same as the last one, which is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4. Okay, there's that DSP just trimmed down. And you will get the DSP for the cards if you order the kit or if you shop with me. And you can feel free to order a pack of this while it is available. Oh my goodness, I am so surprised at how much glue is still left in that tube. All right, so I put enough on here so that I can line this up. This is 4 1/4 by 5.5. So this is the exact card size as our base when it's folded. So I didn't do a smaller layer, kept it like that. Now my inside layer and my sentiment piece, we're going to go ahead and get to stamping here. So we definitely need to stamp that part before we stick it down. And I need to clean my Merry Christmas so we can use a different color. All right, so for the house, I did a second generation stamp with Misty Moonlight. So that is where I'm going to stamp it on my paper first and then stamp it on the card because I don't want it as dark as it would normally be. So I'm going to stamp here and then I'll stamp it down here. Okay, so you can see the difference in that color variation there. All right, now the rooftop, I went ahead with a smoky slate for a nice tin roof type style coloring. Popular down here in the South, those metal roofs. And because it is a nice clear photopolymer, I can line that up directly and voila, not too shabby. And I used my Memento ink, which again comes like this in the catalog. However, I really love it on this ink pad. You will have extra white ink, which is fine because you should have a Whisper White anyway. You just have an extra ink for when that runs out. So I'm using my Memento ink for the Merry Christmas, and I just put it at the bottom here. And I'm going to use the Memento ink again. So I'm going to just slide this out of the way for a moment. And we're going to put our sentiment on this circle here. Remember, to get these nice clean images, you want to gently stamp and lift straight up. You don't want to rock your stamp at all. That's how you get what we call halos and extra smudges. Okay. Smudge with sage, not your ink. So now we can stick all of our pieces and parts down. So I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal and put this on the inside of my card. Make sure I'm going in the right direction here. Simple layer this. This is 4 by 5 1/4 for that inside layer. Okay, so now what I did to get this funky swirl of gold here, I went ahead and I attached my sentiment to this layer. And then I went ahead and put 3 dimensionals on the back of here in like a triangle. And then I swiped a little bit of adhesive right through the center. Took a little bit of this, and you can use any twine you have at home. Doesn't have to be this fancy gold stuff, but I thought it was going to be fun. And then I slightly angle this so that I can get as much of these end pieces on there. And then I'm going to peel off these backings. And then I'm going to kind of turn this over and decide if I want them all in one direction. Do I want to move them around? So I can slide them, can make it like this. That's a little long, so I might twist it and bring it to the other side. So you can kind of mess with these a little or a lot. You can unravel it and make it smaller and start again. So it really does go a long way. If you have a piece that is a little too long, just loop it around and make it smaller for a moment. I'm going to do that again. And then I like to just kind of pull it out in different places. I like to keep that dimensional in there as much as possible. All right, so I did wind this one a little bit, so I'm just kind of pulling this out. And I'm going to flip one over because I want it to come out the other side, so it's not just on one side. You can see I made a giant mess on the back. However, we're about to put this down on here. Okay, so just a little bit of fun. And then I did add just 2 little gold sequins to balance it out at the bottom, because that house is really big, right? So just 2 to just kind of balance this card out. And this is card number 3. We have 1 more card left. So of course it's going to be the magic of plaid, right? Okay, so here is card number 4. Let me pull that a little closer. So I do have a little bit of vellum back here, which doesn't show as well on the camera, but it offers a nice added layer there. So we've cut a circle from our stylish shapes, and we cut this flag out. And then I also cut this circle as well. So let's go ahead and create this one. This one does open on the side here. So this is a 4 1/4 by 11. I obviously did not score this one, so we're just gonna fold it up and see what happens. And then I did pre-cut our pieces for time's sake. All right, so let's go ahead and get my bone folder out. I'm gonna go ahead and fold this, line this edge up. It's much easier and cleaner looking when you do score it, but obviously you can make it work. You can make it work. You can make it work. Just like this. I'm going to go ahead and get one of these out of the way because this is the inside. My inside layer. I don't think I stamped anything on the inside of this one, so I really do like to leave mine blank as much as possible because sometimes I like to write a whole story in there. All right, so there is this piece. now we get to do the magic. Okay. So the background stamp is a large stamp, and what I typically like to tell people is whatever is the largest stays on the bottom when it comes to a stamp and the ink. So my ink pad is smaller, so I'm going to put this big on the bottom. Okay. And I'm going to tap the ink onto the stamp pad. Now, when you see me with these are smaller than the pad. I'll put the pad on the table and stamp that. Okay, so we're going the opposite way because this is a ginormous stamp. So you can see I'm just kind of tapping my ink all over, just looking to make sure that it is completely covered with ink. Set this aside. This is a pretty big block. It's pretty heavy. So I do want to make sure that I am holding it with two hands, and I am going to line it up-ish. It may not be straight. And then I'm pushing on here. Now, the last time I did this, the paper lifts up with the ink pad. It's not a big deal. You can use your finger, but you will get ink on yourself. I'm wearing ink from a couple days ago still. And yes, I have showered. So, see, and then I'm just gonna stick a fingernail into the corner here and plop it down. Now, the beauty of this part is that I made the layer so that we could trim this up and it doesn't change the look of the card. So, give it just a second here. All right, so I am just gonna line this up because I don't want all this excess white on the edge. You can see that there. So I'm just gonna shave that off, but it's gonna be a nice straight shave. There we go. So that is what that looks like. And that is our next layer. This is Mossy Meadow, in case I haven't mentioned that. I'd love to know what colors people are using because sometimes I want to use the same exact colors they are. All right. So we're going to add this layer next. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and stamp that sentiment, and then we will assemble the rest. So this is To You and Yours This Christmas, and again, I'm going to use that same color. Something's happening in my living room. So straight down and up, and just tap that and it'll come off. Okay. So now we can add all of our layers. I'm going to move this out of the way. So the first thing I'm going to add is my vellum layer. And I'm just putting this on one side because that green is going to cover up our adhesive. And I'm putting this kind of up to the left just a tiny bit. And then this is a flat layer as well. And this is going to cover up and go kind of down towards the right of our vellum layer. And now we will pop this one up on dimensionals. And I just laid this a little to the left so that it overhangs on this piece because we trimmed it. Okay, and then I am going to once again add some gold embellishments. And I am going to stick with my theory of threes. All right, so here is card number 4. Okay, so let's look at those one more time. So 1, man, I have all kinds of lighting in here and that looks so dark. Let's see. It does not matter that I have this true light thing on here and everything. All right, sorry. Distractions. Okay, so it really is the cherry cobbler color and that hunter green color that is fabulous. Okay, so that looked okay in the camera. All right, then we have our Christmas paper with our fabulous sentiment, and then we have our tree rings. Love, love, love. And we have more tree rings, but we have poinsettias. All right. I hope that you enjoyed my first Christmas series card class online. Let's see if I can say hi again. There we go. Again, like, share, subscribe, click the little notification bell so that you know when I have classes going online. And if you are interested in a kit for these cards, you're just going to want to place an order or send me a note. You can pay and I'll ship them to you, or you can order with my hostess code, which is KEN79DEG. It's in the description if I didn't get that correct. And those orders would be placed by the 31st, and then I will ship your items out to you. $35 order gets you the materials sent to you, and a $50 order is going to get the card materials and one of the sequin sets. So I look forward to sending you some Christmas card supplies. And if you are not on my email list, I want you there because I'm growing my Christmas card list, and I want you to add me to your list of people who send you cards. So go to my website, sign up for my newsletter, and then send me an email with your address, and I will gladly add you to my Christmas card list. I hope you have a great week. Enjoy it. I go back to work full-time Friday, so this weekend is going to be kind of our last little hurrah. We might go see some sunshine that's not on a softball field. So we'll see if we get to do that. Enjoy. Bye.